What's up, YouTube? This is Ben Parker back with another language learning video. 大家好, it's hello in Chinese. Hello, everyone in Chinese. 皆さん, konnichiwa. That's good afternoon, everyone in Japanese, although it's like 3 in the morning here where I'm at. Anyway, so what I wanted to do in this video really quickly, this is going to be a much shorter video than my previous ones. So if you watched my first couple of videos on my language, Chinese, Japanese learning journey, you would see they're quite long. This one's gonna be much shorter. The topic, just really quickly, is just kind of my 2 cents on Google Translate and whether or not it's an effective language learning app. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is there's kind of a perception that that Google Translate is basically kind of cheating when it comes to learning a language. Like, oh, like Google Translate is something you use if you don't know a language but you want to know how to say it, right? Like that's kind of the thought process behind Google Translate. And I just wanted to basically kind of share my 2 cents on that. So, and really explain why I think Google Translate should be part of your language learning journey. Okay, so obviously, like if Google Translate, I'm putting my soda down. If Google Translate is like your go-to way to learn a language, if that's like the only thing you're using, big mistake, right? Like if you're just like, oh yeah, I'm learning like Chinese or whatever because I'm just typing in Google Translate and it's tell me how to say everything. It's not good, right? That's like not the way you want to use Google Translate for. And the reason why is like if you say like, oh, how do you say X, Y, or Z in such and such language, Google Translate will give you a definition or will give you a way to say it, but it may not be the way that native speakers say it, or it may just be one of many different ways to say it, or it may technically mean that, but like it's just kind of an awkward way of phrasing things. So definitely don't use Google Translate as like, I'm going to type in English, how's it going? And then it's going to give me the answer in Chinese. And that's how they say it in Chinese. Wrong. Like, buhao, not good. Don't use it for that reason. However, while you shouldn't use Google Translate as a means to like, how should I say this? Like, just type in a definition, say, oh, how do I say this in this language? Like that. There are some useful things the Google Translate is good for. Okay, so the first thing is pronunciation. So as I've been going about learning Chinese, I have found Google Translate to be really helpful, just in terms of like pronunciation, right? So Chinese is a tonal language, right? And so a good way to kind of test and see if you're pronouncing things the right way is to use Google Translate, right? So if Google Translate understands what you said in Chinese, for example, then it means you're using the tones right. Okay. Now I should also quickly add that sometimes Google Translate will not understand what you're saying, even if you are saying the right tone and the right word. So don't like automatically think that like, oh, like Google Translate didn't understand me, I must not be saying it right. No, you might be saying it right and Google Translate may be mishearing you, but 9 times out of 10, like Google Translate is a great way to test your pronunciation skills and make sure your pronunciation's on point. Funny story though, I'm not going to say it, but I learned the F word because Google Translate misunderstood what I was saying. So I'm not going to like repeat the F word in Chinese for you guys. You can look that up. But Google Translate taught me the F word inadvertently because I was trying to say something in Chinese and I was saying it correctly, but they just misheard me. So do know that if you're learning Chinese in particular, Google Translate may not always hear you. That said, it is still an effective tool for pronunciation. Also, too, as well, I'm trying what else Google Translate is helpful for. Also, too, like if I'm typing to people in Chinese, like Google Translate understands pinyin just fine. So, like a good way to like if I'm messaging people in Chinese is I'll just type in the pinyin, and then the characters will come up, and I make sure that they understand the pinyin, which they do, and then I'll just kind of copy and paste those characters and send them to people in the message. So often if I'm like typing to people in Chinese, I'll type the pinyin in Google Translate, and then I'll copy and paste the characters and send the message. And then also too, as you're kind of learning the language, like if I'm like typing a message or something, Sometimes I will run it through the Google Translate filter just to make sure that what I said makes sense, particularly as I'm just starting out. As I'm getting more comfortable with Chinese, I don't need to use that feature as much, but it's still nice to have. As is the same with Japanese or any other language you're learning. If you kind of want to make sure that what you're saying makes sense, Google Translate isn't a bad way to go about it. So in other words, it's a really great way to verify that if what you're saying is accurate. So anyway, I'm going to close this video off now, but just as a quick kind of thing, I kind of was thinking about doing a video on this as I'm learning languages in Chinese and Japanese, about Google Translate. It's sort of like how sometimes like some English teachers, like your high school teacher, will tell you don't use Spark Notes because not at least, well, they'll sometimes say don't use Spark Notes. So Spark Notes can be helpful in terms of like helping you memorize or remember certain key parts of a book. Another one is Wikipedia, right? Teachers will tell you that, like your high school teachers say, don't trust Wikipedia, that Wikipedia is not a good tool. And similarly, you may have some people learning languages say, don't use Google Translate, it's a bad tool, or like Google Translate is cheating, whatever. Once again, Google Translate is a good tool. It's an effective tool. It's one that if you're learning a language, in my case, Chinese has been helpful, Japanese has been helpful, and I'm sure it is with a lot of other languages as well. So the way to look at Google Translate is don't use it as a crutch, but rather just use it as a tool, something that can help you verify and help you go about learning your language. So I don't want to ramble on anymore, but Google Translate, すごい,非常好. It's an excellent tool. Just make sure you know how to use it smartly. You don't just like use it as a crutch, like I said, but you use it for the right reasons. Check, verify, pronunciation, those kinds of things. It can just kind of help you along your language learning journey. So feel free to comment below if you have any additional tips or insights on Google Translate or any other apps you're using to help you learn a language. And then also, last but not least, feel free to give this video a like, thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you're interested in learning more about my Chinese, Japanese language learning journey. And then also too, if you want to connect with me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, chat hoops, basketball, whatever, the handle is slamdunk406. I'll provide the information in the description below. And you guys have a good one. Peace.